All right. Good morning, everybody. What's up? This is a Tuesday Feels with Ricardo Sturdivant live on the Reinventing the Tattoo Network this morning. So if you guys are joining in from Facebook or YouTube or even listening to the podcast, just let us know that these streams are working. If you're listening, this is probably in the future, so don't let us know. But this is Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo community. On YouTube, you can set up event reminders for all of these upcoming events that are happening almost every single day. Jason is on today where he leads Skill Building Sundays at 1 p.m. On the Reinventing Tattoo YouTube. If you guys haven't tuned in yet, there's a lot of different things. All skill levels are welcome. So he's here today if you guys have any questions about that. Also, James Wisdoms likes to pop in as well on Monday mornings. He does his drawing for tattooers, which is like a college level drawing class that we're really, really happy to have James lead. So that's 9 a.m. You can set up the reminder, like I said, on the YouTube channel. If you're looking for weekly updates and stuff like that, Jake Meeks, myself, and Gabe Ripley lead the Tattoo Weekly at 11 a.m. on Mondays. Later in the evening is Robbie Rapol's Feelings with Dustin, and those are great. A lot of different rabbit holes, but for your mental space, it's a great place to be. And then Monday evenings is the Reinventing Evolution that was led last night by Kyle. We're really excited to talk with him. That was his first led class. Other teachers have been Sandy, Ricardo, all sorts of stuff. So if you guys want to talk about that today, just let us know in the comments. Other than that, if you are interested in joining in these live streams, it's incredibly easy to do. You just go to reinventingthetattoo.com and scroll down to our calendar, click the Zoom link, and you're in. If you'd like to do that today and you have any questions, just let us know in the chat and we'll help you through that. Anything else? If you guys would like to check out Tattoo Now, they've got a lot of really cool new software that Gabe has been working on. Gabe has been a pioneer in tattoo technology for decades. So tattoonow.com, definitely check it out. Other than that, I think we'll go ahead and hop in. For that, we want to say thank you to Guy Aitchison for all of the work he's done. He's the behind Reinventing the Tattoo. You can find his biomech encyclopedia, machines, paintings, courses, and more on his website at guyaitchison.com. All right, let's go ahead and bring everybody in for Tuesday Feelings. Let's kick it off. Welcome, Ricardo. Got you taken care of. That echo panic is real. So we have Amber, Medusa, Jason, Ricardo. Ricardo, how's it going today? Good to see you here.
Okay, it's going much better now. Can you hear me?
Sure can.
I can.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool. Sorry about that echo, guys.
It's happening all over Zoom. I had a Zoom meeting yesterday that it happened on.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's crazy. It's Skynet taking over. I'm pretty sure of it.
Yeah. I thought it was a sick remix.
DJ Ricky.
I thought I might be having a flashback when it happened.
Oh man.
What have you been up to the last week though, besides Zoom panic?
What have I been up to?
Yeah, besides Zoom panic.
Oh, Zoom panic kind of takes over, and I got to clear my brain for a second before I realize what it is that I have been doing. I've been working on a lot of big projects and stuff lately, so that's been keeping me pretty busy. I was recently fortunate enough to post a drawing that I did and ask anybody if they wanted to buy it, and I was so stoked that I had somebody that wanted to buy it for me. She's actually bought a couple other pictures from me and stuff like that too. So that always makes me feel pretty good that people want to pay a price for something that I've drawn for myself. You know what I mean? It's like the non-tattoo client, you know what I mean? So they just want to collect art. So it's pretty radical.
That's cool, Ricardo.
Yeah, it's pretty. What's that?
I love that. I love when you get to sell something that you put your heart into rather than somebody commissioned you to do.
Yeah, me too. It makes me feel pretty good, you know, because like I think as artists we all have these like moments of like, am I doing things the right way? Am I good enough? What do we got going on here? You know what I mean? Yeah. How about you guys? What have y'all been up to?
Well, I was at I got to see Derb do his Red Tree Longevity of the Tattoo Artist the other night. That was really cool because it was live, first of all, but it was a recorded seminar that he had done before. But it was really neat to hear everybody's opinions. It was a really oops, I'm spotlighted. Okay, thanks, Jason. I wasn't spotlighted on YouTube, but it was a really cool thing. So if you guys did miss that, I can link in the chat, or you can go to our channel, Longevity of the Tattoo Artist, because he had live Q&A after. And he also said, if you guys have any questions on that content, that it's out there in the world now, you can always send him an email with further questions. And I know, Ricardo, I was thinking of you and, gosh, I can't remember his name. Your guest that you had on 2 different episodes of the fitness coach.
Oh, Zach
Zach.
Turner. Mhm.
Sure. Yeah. What a great guy. And I was talking to Derb a little bit about that, about some of the breathing techniques he was talking about and such, but he might find interest in that seminar as well.
Okay, cool.
See
I'll make
what-
sure and send him the link and see what he thinks. Yeah, it's right up the same alley. You know what I mean? Like what I did catch and stuff like that. I was hearing Zach as well. You know what I mean? Like he's told me so many different times about like, you know, posture, you know what I mean? Breathing, eating, you know what I mean? Stretching, things like that. And like even going to the gym, sometimes you get caught up in the moment and you're trying to go a little bit harder or put a little bit more push behind it. And he's like, whoa. You're a tattoo artist, man. You need those hands, you need those wrists and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool.
I remember
But
one of the questions he said, what is the greatest thing you can do basically to help improve yourself? And it was the strength, having with being strong, you know.
Mhm.
A lot of
Core
people
strength. What's that?
I was going to say strengthen your back. Oh, shit. Sorry.
Haha. Zoom craziness. See,
Wait, no, I have.
it's on your
Oh.
iPad, I think.
It sounds so cool.
Whoa. Now that is true. Like we did talk about that strength and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like it's a positive mind. It definitely for me, it's humbling and it's motivating at the same time. You know what I mean? Like you put a certain amount of weight on whatever it is that you're doing, it can definitely kick you back in your place and be like, well, that's a little bit too much. You know what I mean? And then some days you pull it up and you can't believe that it gave you that much of a problem to begin with. So that's just the mindset part of it. The other part of it is that confidence that it builds inside of yourself when are standing up straight. You know what I mean? And you feel strong. You know, it's pretty cool. I dig it for sure. And it definitely helps with like core strength and stuff like that too. Whenever you're sitting there for long periods of time and stuff like that, like keeping your lower back straight, shoulders up. It's pretty incredible.
FYI, little
yeah.
life hack here. As far
Yeah.
as you had just mentioned, like the confidence that you get from standing up straight and like that straight back, which psychologically also has an impact. But there's one little life hack there as well.
Mhm.
For people that find themselves like in a really high pressure or very intense situation, sometimes you need that extra little boost. And it was something that certain people had tried to debunk, but it actually does work. And that's do the superhero pose and hold it for like 2 solid minutes.
Yeah.
And like it does give you that boost of confidence. It does. Maybe it's all psychological, but it will have an impact on how confident you are that day.
Yeah. I do agree. I've heard that study before, and they've talked. I can't remember who it was that I saw that was talking about that superhero pose, but it's definitely, you know,
Can we
mind
see
over. Yeah, let's see the superhero pose. There you go. There you go. Look at that.
And holding.
it
Still holding.
looks like Ricardo every day he wakes up.
Yeah, right. Oh,
It's
God.
right
I actually sleep like that.
before he goes on his 4:30 a.m.
Well,
jog.
let me ask you guys, 1, 2, 3, 4 tattooers in here right now. What would you rate your attention to your body over your attention to your art? What do you think outweighs more?
At this point in time in my life,
Not that it needs to outweigh, but both be attended.
I think for me at this point in my life, I realized that paying attention to my body and what I feed it and what I do with it in the mornings or the afternoons and things like that, it takes precedence over my artwork and stuff like that. Because without it, I don't think I get in the right mindset to be able to like go from one to the other. You know, like drawing is like a light switch. You know what I mean? You sit down with the creativity part and you kind of switch your brain off into a mode. You know what I mean? For me, I'm inside this capsule. So the more I take care of it, the more the healthier I am with it, the better my mind feels for sure. So it's like a step. It's like a process, you know? first the body, then the mind, you know?
What about you, Medusa?
I think that that's a really tricky question. I think that's a really tricky question because I pay attention to my body all the time. I am constantly complaining about it. However, that doesn't mean I'm doing anything about it. So are you asking, are we doing anything to better our bodies, or are
I
we
see that
just
you're
paying
practicing
attention?
and you're attending conferences and you're really exercising your artistic capabilities because you know that exercising them increases their strength and such. But do you give yourself and your body the same attention that you do with your artwork?
No, I just complain about it.
I mean, you do eat well and you're conscientious about what you put in, you know, which is also incredibly important.
Yeah.
Mostly, I do have habits, like every morning it's a protein shake.
Sure.
I think that I am in the place where I'm starting to pay more attention to treating my body better, like starting to prioritize booking massages
Mhm.
and Thai massage and stretching more than I used to. And that thing that Derb did definitely reinvigorated my desire to treat my body much better now. I think that I'm still paying more attention to my art overall, but
Sure.
it's changing.
What about you, Amber?
Over the past year, I started really paying attention more to how I treat my body
Mhm.
because for a while I worked myself into the ground physically. I worked 7 days a week. I worked 3 jobs. I had 2 on the books jobs, and then I tattooed on my days off. So
Okay.
I was grinding really hard and not really watching what I ate either. I was just eating what was quick. And so over the past year, I've really tried to change how I eat and exercise more.
And how do you feel in the last year compared to before?
Well, with that and therapy for my head, I feel a lot better than I did before. And I think part of the fact that I wasn't treating my body very well is because I was working so hard and so burnt out, I was depressed.
There you go. That's exactly it. That's a valid, really valid point that you brought up. And first of all, Lauren, thank you for asking these like really pertinent questions, man, because I that's exactly it right there. Like that's what it is that keeps you that kind of stuff at bay. We all have to deal with it, you know what I mean? But like it definitely helps temper those kind of moments that we have. You know what I mean? Like you can be stressed out and go for a run and it automatically just boom, like it'll just trigger something inside you. I agree with you completely. It's something that you recognize. I think it was a little bit. I'm sorry.
How are those triggers related? The trigger you get from exercise and the trigger you get from art. They seem to be kind of derived from a similar place.
I don't know. I think maybe it has to do with endorphins.
Create the
You know?
state endorphins in the brain.
Yeah. Endorphins and yeah. I'm forgetting the other chemical, serotonin. The serotonin in your brain too.
Yeah.
Serotonin, delicious serotonin.
Delicious
Nom, nom, nom,
serotonin.
nom, nom, nom.
Just put it in my veins.
Give me more serotonin, please. It's my
Mhm.
turn.
Please, brain, make the stuff.
Yeah, seriously. Hey guys, while we're talking, I'm gonna share this screen if that's cool with you guys.
Never. How
Never.
dare you?
Why
I
would
know.
Feel free
you
to
do
do that. Good
that?
morning to Kyle Olson watching from YouTube. Thank
Good
you.
morning,
Hi.
Kyle.
Feel free to join
Hi,
in.
Kylo.
Hi.
Kylo, nice.
Kylo Olson.
Kyloson.
Kyloson. I like that. All right, so let's see, is it
I
going?
like giving people nicknames. I really do. Nicknames that don't stick, but only I'll call them, that nobody else understands, that don't make any sense. Hell yeah.
Like red card.
Yeah.
Yeah, Red Cardo.
Oh my God, you guys don't do it.
Okay.
Cool, Ricardo.
Yeah, thanks. Cool. I'm glad you dig it. speaking of Kyle Bernstein last night when we were doing the class,
Oh, nice.
he brought up the subject matter is robots and color. You know what I mean? And I found myself sitting there last night with the drawing. I think a lot of us were trying to figure out what we were going to do with these robots and stuff like that, and like what we're going to do with color and everything. And it made me start thinking a lot about intention. Like whenever you're sitting down with a drawing and like you're not sure where you're going to go, a lot of it has to do with that set intention. I think for me is where do you start? You know, so sometimes for me, what I like to do is just replicate what I see. You know what I mean? And do things that are fun for me too. Like just something that I'm going to keep for myself. I'm not going to try to go and sell this or anything like that. I'm just going to study it. You know, so like I was thinking about the color and things like that. And I love all the stuff from Rogue One. And I love Star Wars nerdy stuff like that. So I figured that I would just kind of show this drawing process, you know what I mean? And it's a lot of fun. How about you guys? What do you guys do whenever you get kind of blocks? Do you guys work with, do you guys have any techniques or tricks that you do whenever you feel blocked in like a drawing or anything like that? Is there anything
Work
that
in a
you're
different
doing?
medium.
Work in a different medium. Okay. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Take something
good
that you've done 1,000 times, do it in a different way, and you would be surprised at how motivating it is.
Oh yeah. That's a good point, Jason.
I have recently started just taking popular Flash designs and Flash concepts and just redrawing them almost exactly, and then just switching them up until suddenly I have an idea of my own to draw something completely different on a different piece of paper.
Exactly it.
Just
Mhm.
copying other art can be
Yeah.
a hand exercise that triggers creativity, I think.
That's a good point. And it kind of coincides with what we're talking about earlier with like physical activity versus like being immobile. I think with drawing, you are stimulating your brain, you're stimulating your hand-eye coordination, things like that to kind of move around, right? Because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I'm stuck and I don't know what it is that I'm going to draw or how I'm going to draw it, I definitely feel frozen. You know what I mean? Like there's like that moment of, oh crap, I'm just staring at a white piece of paper.
And then you kind of panic.
Yeah, there's a moment of panic for sure. There's a slight moment of panic for sure. Exactly.
It's that feeling where like a blank canvas is a threat to your ability to be an artist.
Uh-huh.
You know, almost like it's staring at you and mocking you for not having covered it yet.
Yeah.
Yep.
I find blank walls and blank canvases offensive to my artistic eye.
You're offensive. I hate you. What did you say?
Yeah,
to
we'll
me?
say this. The walls in my house have very little art on it, believe it or not. And there's a reason why.
You collect so much art. Where are you putting it?
I have a few different piles going.
What?
But
I did notice that.
I like the sterility. I like to be able to come home and not have any kind of visual distraction, because all day long when I'm at the studio, I'm surrounded by artwork and colors and lines and shapes and different paintings and different forms of art. And sometimes when I get home, I just need to clear my mind and I need to take like a visual breather. So I like having blank open wall space at my house so that I can just sit and look at nothingness, right? And that kind of gives me a little bit of a visual breather. But like the studio I work at is like wall to wall, floor to ceiling artwork everywhere. And artwork by all different people done in all different styles. We've got a couple of Guy Aitchison prints hanging up. We've got some Teresa Sharp prints hanging up. We've got all different types of stuff by all different types of people. So there's always something visually interesting to look at, right? But because of that, I almost feel like I get visually overstimulated sometimes. So I like having just like a blank spot to look at that provides me just calm.
Okay, so that actually brings up that makes more sense to me. A few years ago, I interviewed to move into a house, Craigslist roommate situation. And the guy that I was talking with to become his potential roommate was a tattoo artist. And so we were talking about tattoos and art and stuff. But I remember hanging out in his living room and talking with him, and he had nothing on the walls. His entire house was almost morbidly blank for someone who has a substantial career as an artist. Like every room was blank. The furniture was very minimal. There wasn't even trinkets or family photos. It was weirdly blank. So I was just like, okay, so maybe he hasn't lived here that long. Turns out he's lived there for over a decade. He just doesn't like decorations and stuff. And I mean, it didn't work out, probably for the better, because I think I would have freaked out if I had lived in such a sterile, hospital grade, blank white environment.
Yeah.
But that makes sense now that you mention it like that, because I actually have been to this artist tattoo shop before. Where I actually did end up moving was just a couple blocks away from his tattoo shop, coincidentally. So I remember stopping by and seeing it. And yeah, at his shop, there's just every inch is covered with traditional flash arts, not statues, but sculptures, everything you can think of that's some sort of artistic thing. There's some audit cabinets full of oddities and sticker machines and all of that. So now that you explain it that way, I finally understand why that one guy 6 years ago that was an artist had a house like that. So thank you for explaining, because for years
very
I have
welcome.
thought that guy was so weird.
You're just having dreams of it, so blank,
You guys are like, how are you
so blank. Oh.
Oh my God, it would drive me insane. But I have attention deficit. In order for me to focus, there has to be chaos around me.
Oh.
There's got to be that white noise.
Mm-hmm.
When I used to work with special needs kids, whenever we had an in-service day and I had to sit there in a seminar and pay attention,
Yeah.
I had to be drawing something in my notebook.
Yeah, that was school for me entirely. Or anytime I'm anywhere business oriented or man, I remember I've had to deal with lawyers several times in my life, and that's never any fun. That I'd be sitting there in their office, they'd be explaining to me what's going to happen in court, and I'd just be sitting there doodling because I couldn't sit
And they
still.
think you're not paying attention, but it's the only way you can pay attention.
Well, sometimes I
If
was.
your hands are doing something.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I'm gonna try really hard not to ask why, but because I'm always curious. But I forgot, what did you do before you were a tattooist, Ricardo?
Me?
Yeah.
Just all kinds of odd jobs. You know what I mean? I've done everything. I worked in I was a tack welder for our railroad cars, you know what I mean? We put together railroad cars, and I can't even say it, railroad cars. So I did that for a while, where I just sit up on the top and I was tack welding the catwalks and stuff like that you see on some of those gray cars that pass by on the trains and stuff like that, storage and seed and stuff like that. Let's see. I've done everything. I worked at a data entry place, you know what I mean? The last job I worked at was at a data entry place, and I was so bored there. I would always draw on the back of these sheets that we had to turn in for all the information that we put into the system, which is weird because you entered everything into a computer, but you still have to write everything down on a piece of paper. It's what the hell am I doing here? But it was
Backups
so
for your
Hard copy
backups.
backup.
yeah. Yeah,
no.
exactly. And it was boring and I hated it. And I would always do
Aw.
like, I don't know how the hell I did it, but I would do more work than most of the people that I worked with. And I would turn on these sheets with all these drawings and stuff all over it. And they're like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know, man, this is a boring job, you know? I was never very quiet about how easy jobs were like that, like how boring they were, because they were just boring. You know what I mean? I
You
hated
straight
it.
up just
Longest
told
job.
them, you're like, this
Yeah.
job sucks.
Yeah, I was like pretty much like, this job sucks, dude. Like, give me something better to do, please. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That was the last job I did. I pretty much went home for a lunch break, and I remember sitting there and just saying, I'm not doing this. I had already started playing around with tattooing and stuff like that. I was talking to a tattoo artist, showing me some of the things that he knew, and giving me stuff to work with and everything like that, like equipment to work with. And I finally just decided one day, I was like, I'm done. I'm never going back again. And I just gave it all up and just went for it, you know? So
Like bare
and
bones, cold turkey. You just
like,
quit,
yeah,
and we're all like, I either have to make it or I have no way to pay rent.
pretty much. That's pretty much
That
it.
is fucking ballsy, bold of you,
Yeah.
but also a very good idea. You're already incredibly talented.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's where we were, you know what I mean? And I hated, I felt like I was always lost. Does that make sense? always-
That makes
I always-
perfect sense.
Yeah, I've always felt like I was kind of like adrift.
You weren't where you belonged and you knew it.
Exactly. And I always knew, I was like, this just doesn't feel right. And then that rail car thing that I did, man, I could have worked there. There was a lot of people that worked there, and they were hard workers, and they didn't get paid enough for the jobs that they did. You know what I mean? Like, it was hard work. And I didn't mind that, because I like staying busy. I like staying physically active. I've always been, I mean, before I started tattooing, I was into skateboarding a lot. I skate. That's all I did, was just skate all day, every day. And I actually gave that up so I could tattoo, because I knew I didn't want to hurt my wrists anymore. But
Well,
like those
every
jobs,
real skateboarder knows how to fall.
yeah. I guess I
Yeah,
wasn't.
but
I guess I wasn't real enough, was
one
I?
time,
You're a poser.
That was a posier. So is it poser or posier?
La posure.
La posier. Yeah, there you go.
in the French
Yeah.
pronunciation.
Yeah. Yeah. But like that job that I had with the rail cars, you know what I mean? Like they were going union, and there was all kinds of benefits and stuff like that. And I was not too long. It wasn't too far off of high school when I graduated that I had that job. And I was doing really well, and they're prospecting me to become like a union member and stuff like that, dude. And I remember just freaking the hell out. I was like, I don't want anything to do with that. And all these people around me were telling me, like, what's wrong with you? Like, this is a good job. You could work here. You could ride it out here, and you'll have all these benefits, and you can retire at a certain age and stuff. I was like, oh my God, it made me panic.
Yeah, it's just the idea of a mindless job for the rest of your life. The same
Yeah.
exact thing every day.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
And go ahead.
I wouldn't say that any job is particularly mindless, because
Right.
there are people that have that job that absolutely love it and are very proud of it and go for
Right.
them. It just isn't the job that makes you particularly happy.
Exactly.
Well, what
Yeah.
I mean by mindless is it's not particularly mentally stimulating to you.
Yeah.
The last job I did before I went, that's it. I'm a tattooer. That's it. I'm not doing this anymore. I was a deli person at a whole, like a Costco, BJ's type place.
Hmm.
And I walked out. I went, I can't do this anymore. I went to HR and said, I'm leaving. And I
Oh,
never
wow.
looked back.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot that kind of geez, I felt like I wasn't even sure what I was doing whenever I did it. Like, it's not like I was thinking that I'm never gonna work a job like this ever again. You know what I mean? All I knew is that, like, my gut was telling me something that I wasn't really in tune with at the time. You know what I mean? And it's
Mhm.
been pretty incredible. And I think that it's crazy that I was thinking about that, because like this intention thing that I've been thinking about the past couple of days is, I think it's important for us as artists to kind of sit down every once in a while and maybe even just write out a list of the things that are going on around your life. You know what I mean? The things that are happening day to day. Sometimes we get so caught up in the fact of living that we don't realize that we are the controllers of our own dreams. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We're in total control of our own dreams. And life, it doesn't just happen to us. Even though we might think that shit sucks or things suck sometimes and it's just so hard and nobody gets it, and I feel down and everything like that. Like, we have to remember, because I've been there recently too. You know what I mean? Like, just feeling kind of in a slump for a while, and it's something that it was hitting me pretty hard. You know what I mean? And I just woke up one day and I realized, like, oh my God, I don't have to feel like this if I don't want to. And I think it definitely helped, because I'd been drawing in this sketchbook and stuff like that for a little while. And I started realizing that I was writing in some of the pages along some of the drawings and things like that too, like a diary almost, you know what I mean? And it helped out quite a bit, because I started reading it after I was done with it. And we just have to start picking it up. You know, what's our intention today? What's our motivation? What's keeping me going? Is it notoriety from my peers? What is it that's driving you? What's the driving force? You know what I mean? And I think that if you're finding that it's something about how somebody else might feel about you or think about you, then you might have to recheck that whole process. Because like with this drawing right now, this isn't for anybody except for just me, and I'm just sharing it right now. You know what I mean?
It's the
It's
only opinion that matters is about you, is the one you have of yourself.
exactly. You know what I mean? And it's important to remember that. And like, this drawing isn't for anybody else either. It's just for my study. You know, like I want to do something fun. I want to do something that is invigorating to me. And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks of it right now. You know what I mean? And I want to be able to hone in on my own skill. I want to be able to push myself a little bit farther. And I found myself last night questioning what it was that I was going to draw and how I was going to draw it and why I was doing it. So time to start all over again.
I have one sort of on topic question, one actual tech question for Zoom, because I'm actually struggling with my thing.
Okay.
I'm using the Zoom call on iPad, and I can't seem to figure out where the button is to go to gallery view so I can see everybody's thing.
Jason?
Swipe the screen left.
I'm not getting anything.
Oh, that worked for me.
Oh, dang. All right. It's probably just my thing. All right. Anyways,
Do you see participants in the upper corner?
Yes.
And that just opens up the participant panel, right?
Yeah.
Do you see an icon that's 4 little squares?
No. Where it's normally would say switch to gallery view, it says turn off center stage. What's that? Oh, well, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Something
okay.
I'll deal with later. My other question was more
Just
related. Yeah, I was wondering what everybody did before they were tattooing or getting involved in the tattoo industry, and what was the thing that made them want to join. Is that an okay question to ask?
Absolutely. You guys go ahead. I'm interested to see where you guys.
Now that we've known some of your history.
Yeah.
Join tattooing or join reinventing?
Let's start with tattooing.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool beans.
What do you think, Melissa? Why don't you tell us about you? What got you into it?
Well, no, I asked the question.
Oh, okay.
Amber, you go.
Okay. I worked with special needs kids, mostly autistic kids and juvenile delinquents for 20 years before I became a tattooer. I got my first real apprenticeship that actually lasted a little while I was still working there. So after that, I became a tattooer. My original plan was, because my daughter was finally growing up. I didn't really need insurance for her and everything. She had everything she needed, and I was going to have a pension and medical benefits. I was going to tattoo part-time for the last 5 years of my service and then retire from my job and just be a tattoo artist with medical benefits and a pension. But we downsized the company and got rid of half of us.
There you go. That's incredible when the companies can do that, doesn't it? That's the other thing. That's the other thing that deterred me from working in the field, or like, so to speak, like the private field or whatever. You know what I mean? Is like the fact that companies, they don't look at you as a person or what you're really contributing. They look at you as a margin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, the generation before me was like, get a good union job. It'll support you. And when they were young, it did.
Yeah.
A union job would support a family.
Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you. I think, you know, that's the interesting.
I love working with the kids.
Oh yeah, for sure. I bet. Like, that's awesome. What about you, Melissa? Were you always into art and stuff like that, or what was it? Did you always have a passion for drawing, for painting?
I did. I definitely did. My babysitter, my nanny when I was a little kid, had talked about and had told me when I was older that when I was a wee little kid and everything, I would make art out of literally anything. My parents verified these stories. I definitely would anything. Like, I would carve pictures into flour I spilled on the floor.
That's awesome.
It's not super awesome because like 1-year-old, 2-year-old me also made art out of, diaper stuff.
That's awesome. What a statement. Huh?
No, there's hilarious stories my parents like to tell my friends to try to embarrass me, and I'm just like, I'm not embarrassed. I was an artist.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Think about it like this, right? In this day and age, if you had held on to that, you probably could have sold it for $1 million to any given museum.
Yeah.
There's somebody out there that would buy
poop art.
Yeah. Poop art. Hell yeah. No, my babysitter used to tell me that and she had been nannying for I think 40 years. She said that I was the youngest kid that she had ever seen make a complete circle.
Oh,
wow. But yeah, I've always been interested in it. I never wanted to do homework because I believed that I was going to be an artist when I grew up. An artist didn't need to know science or math or history. I just needed to know how to draw. So it was terrible in school.
I literally told my mother that. Literally told my mother that as an excuse for why all my grades were C's.
Yeah. And then somehow I figured out, I didn't figure out. I was told and I believed that you can't really get a career as an artist. And if you go to art school, you'll just end up being a barista. So I kind of didn't really pursue it for a while, and yeah, had other odd jobs and stuff, mostly under the table. And then, I had a really weird history with apprenticeships because I've had 3 that didn't work out that are all very unconventional. And then I ended up moving to Oregon, where the laws here are super weird, and it was really a complicated journey. And I guess what ended up actually being the driving force for me to actually take tattooing seriously was losing my bar job. Yeah, which was a bummer, but like it was a bummer because I lost the job, but it was also kind of nice because I didn't want it anyways. So what happened was I had been like working in the kitchen for a long time. And then I, fought like tooth and nail to get to the front of the house to be a bartender. And 2 weeks into bartending, I was like, put me back in the back of the house. I fucking hate this. People are awful. I don't want to talk to them. They're drunk. They're annoying. And so it turns out I hate being a bartender. But the thing is, they couldn't put me in the back of the house because they had already filled my position in the back of the house, and I didn't want to be the front of the house anymore. So me and my boss were just kind of just like, let's not do this for a little bit. And I took some time off from that job to pursue tattooing. And then I was still on the books as an employee, but just never went back because tattooing kind of took off. And there was a lot of other weird jobs in between, but basically what got me interested in tattooing was when I was a kid, I used to draw all over my arms and my legs. And my mom was all like, that's so good that you love art and everything. I really, really hope you don't become one of those tattoo degenerates and all of that. And I was all like, I didn't know that
my little brother.
It's like, I didn't know that was an option. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. That's killer. Thank you.
I used to draw all over my little brothers too, and God, it made them mad.
That was another thing for me too, man. My dad, I remember my dad was telling me, he's like, well, this is pretty cool. You're doing this thing. He's like, but how long do you plan on doing this? Like, I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, how long are you going to go get a different job and stuff like that? I was like, no, this is it, man. He's like, huh. And that's all he said was, huh. I was like, all right, I'm definitely doing it now.
Yeah.
See, my mom has never been really into it. She's much more accepting now. After I tattooed my face, I think she realized that there's no turning back.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Commit
like,
to
I'm
the
not going
bit.
anywhere. Yeah.
But my dad was really funny about it because he's always been super supportive of me wanting to do art. Anything art related, he's going to be like, yes, get it, girl, get it. And I actually went to college for a bit to be a scientist. I went for botany, and I love plants. I love the science of plants. I love everything they could do and all of that. I hate math, so I wasn't very good at science because science is a lot of math. And he was so bummed when I went to college for science. And I was just like, Dad, this is a promising career, a scientist. Like, that's awesome. And he's just like, yeah, but don't you want to be an artist? And I was just really like, sweet. Which I was very honored that my dad wanted to support that so much. But also I was thinking about like how many parents are bummed that their kid wants to be a scientist and are more just like, why don't you pursue this much harder, much more difficult job to make a living off of, But he was right. He was right. I should always be focusing. I also used up all of my Pell Grant on art classes and then realized I had to start paying for college and I didn't want to pay for math. So screw that.
Yeah.
I dropped out.
That's interesting stuff, man. I know Jason, you have a pretty good story about your introduction to art and to tattooing too, like from where you were to where you are now. You want to share that with us?
Yeah, I took a little bit of a different different route to becoming a tattoo artist. I always knew since like early high school, like this is everything I wanted to do. This was everything in life. This was everything I geared my life towards since like my sophomore, junior year in high school. But at the same time, I also knew it was going to be really tricky to get into it. Right. So I went through and, much like Medusa, worked in restaurants, did every job there, whether I liked it or not, just to make ends meet for a little while I was in college. And then I got a job working in basically a computer lab at the university I went to. And, it was one of those like cush jobs where you sit down and you basically just watch people and make sure that they don't steal anything. Right. But we kept running into problems and I didn't know how to fix these problems. So I would kind of shadow whatever tech would come over to fix the problems. Great. Well, by the time I graduated college with a degree in art, which I'm using now, but I didn't use for the past, I don't know how many years. But I ended up landing a full-time information technology job because by the time I left, they had to hire like 3 people to replace me. You keep moving up and growing your skills and moving up some more and growing your skills some more and, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I ended up working in information technology for a number of years, doing online classroom support, pioneering some web conferencing technology, video editing, video production stuff, setting up servers. Basically, I was the Swiss Army guy of like tech support. I like to call myself a professional nerd at that point because I could pretty much do almost anything. But I knew that wasn't where I wanted to be. I knew it wasn't satisfying. Every chance I got, I would slack off and play around with the graphics tablets that they had and work on tattoo designs and make digital art. And everything I was doing was geared towards tattooing. Every ounce of free time I had was researching tattooing or doing this or pulling up academic articles or, working on a new piece of Flash or getting a new painting laid out or, whatever. And throughout my college career, while I was still in college, I ended up I figured out a way to get college credits for doing an apprenticeship, which was pretty cool.
Right.
I did, so where I went to school for a degree in fine art, you could take independent studies. You were allowed 3 independent studies and 1 work study, as long as you had a professor that was there to support you to sign off on what you were doing. Right. And I talked to my painting professor, who's super cool. And they were like, yeah, there's not really too much here at the university that can really help you out with what you want to do for a living. Maybe an independent study or a work study would be your better bet, because that will allow you to be around the people that are probably going to benefit you the most with what you really want to do. And I was like, yes, I'm there. What do I have to do? Right. And each one was, I think I did 2 work studies or 2 independent studies back to back one semester. In the next semester during my apprenticeship, I did a work study and an independent study, ironically, all at the same location. Basically, that way I could figure out a way to spend as much time as I could at the studio I was apprenticing at. Well, lo and behold, after that academic year, right as I was really starting to get into the nitty gritty of like actually learning the application techniques, everything was completed, as far as my college classes go and my independent study and my work study. And the studio then decided that they didn't really need me around. So I was kind of sent off into the world to continue learning. fortunately, through one of the people that worked at that studio, I was able to pick up a second apprenticeship through another place that was a little bit further away, but was willing to pick up where the last studio left off. So, so by the time I was working full-time being an IT specialist, I did already land a full-time tattooing job, which was awesome. But I also knew that I needed to build my clientele base, right? And I knew that was going to take a while. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't like going hungry. So
Yeah.
I figured out a way to do both jobs for a number of years until I had enough clientele base, basically backlogged, that I didn't have to do my day job anymore. So at that point in time, when I knew I could survive off of tattooing alone, that's when I went and I said, okay, you know what? My time has come. It's time to move on and, start a new chapter in my life. And that's what I did. And got rid of working 80 hours a week, which was just absolutely asinine. I do not recommend it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to talk about burnout?
Yeah, dude,
That's
big
burnout.
time.
When you literally wake up and you work from what was it? 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning until 10:30, 11 o'clock every night, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's burnout. But it taught me a lot about what I'm capable of doing. So I can't say that there were, so many different disadvantages. It taught me a lot about, knowing that, okay, I know I can run off of 5 hours of sleep every night for weeks on end. I know this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's healthy, and it's
No, but
not,
it's possible.
but it is possible. And I am capable of doing that. So I know that if I really have to push myself, I know I can. So there were a lot of benefits there, but yeah, I come from a technology background. So I'm very well versed with technology and things like Zoom. I can actually tell you how Zoom got started, which is pretty weird, but not that I think anyone really cares. But
Now you got to tell us.
so Zoom's entire design and programming team at one point in time worked for a larger company called Cisco. Cisco had a product out called WebEx. WebEx is still available. It's their direct competitor. But from what I gathered, the Cisco higher ups were not really trying to push the technology to its fullest extent. They didn't want to go through and make changes to make things better and streamlined and all this stuff. So they decided to hold off on developing anything new, until they kind of saw some market potential or whatever. But the potential was there. And so the design and programming team from Cisco WebEx left and started Zoom.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, so what do you think about what you've taken from your other jobs that have been applicable to your current situation, like to your tattooing, to the business end of things and things like that? Because I think that's the thing that I'm hearing from you, Jason, is that you did find out a lot about yourself in the process. You know what I mean? A lot of people, I hear a lot of artists especially say, man, if I would have just stuck with it, if I would have tried harder, I would be so much further and stuff like that. But it's you know what? Everything that you've been doing has led you to the point that you're at right now. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's really hard. It's so easy for us to just demean our current state. And we're looking for growth all the time. And the thing of it is that the entire time that you're looking for it, you're actually in it at the moment. You know what I mean? And it's easy to forget that because it's hard to see it from the outside, but I mean, I know for me, I'm the same way, Jason. I can relate to what you said about that really well, because I know I can push myself certain ways when I have to, or if I want to, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There was a kid that came down from up north a little while ago, and we did the tattoo on the inside of his arm, this Zeus face and stuff like that. And I had done a bigger tattoo earlier in that day. but I knew that he can't make it down very often. You know what I mean? So like with his time constraint and things like that, we had to kind of like push the envelope a little bit more, him and I both, and sit down and really just focus in and get this tattoo done for him. You know what I mean?
Yep.
As close to as done for the time being as we can get it. And I told him that. I was like, I still want to get back in it. I still want to do other things, but this is where you're at. This is what you want. Now there's a couple different ways you can handle that, right? You can tell people that that's not the way that you work. But I know for me, without my clientele to a certain point, none of us would be doing anything. We'd be sitting down,
Absolutely.
we'd be sitting around twiddling our thumbs, dude. You know what I mean? Like when I first started the shop, I remember there was weeks where I wouldn't be doing anything. I'd just be sitting at the shop drawing, like, oh my God, what am I doing? I dove in, like Medusa said, and there was times where I was like, well, I guess I can eat some chicken pot pies and stuff for the next few weeks, you know what I mean? Or like some ramen noodles and stuff. But
cheap.
yeah, so there's this like work part of it that I've still stayed accustomed to. You know what I mean? I've still tuned into that. And I know a lot of people will say different things about the work ethic and things like that, and like how much the client has hold over like what it is that we do. And that's true to a certain point. I find it interesting that there's a lot of little gray area for that sometimes,
Well, I think it's important to remember that this is a customer service industry, right? Without our customers, without our clients, we don't have jobs.
Right. Exactly.
We can make art all day, all that we want, but without the people that we actually service, the people that come to us for what we do, we don't have an income.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think gets lost, amongst people that achieve certain levels. Certain people that develop major egos and develop what I call the tattitude, they lose sight of that.
Yeah, the tattitude is real.
It is, dude.
It's good to stay humble, man.
Tattitude.
That's a whole nother discussion, but we might as well brush on that a little bit. You know what I mean? I think it kind of coincides with what we're talking about right now. It's easy to get swept up in what you do, and you think that your answer is right all the time, but it's not necessarily the case, is it?
What do you mean I'm not right all the time? How dare you?
I know, totally. No, I think.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna kind of like just say the same thing basically again, but go ahead.
Yeah, we have a tendency to think on the same wavelength, but I mean, it's like, oh shit, now I forgot what I was gonna say.
The tattitude thing it's a real thing. You see it a lot. I mean, I've traveled around, and like, I don't know about you guys, and this might sound bad and everything, but I'm gonna go ahead and share my feelings on things. Like whenever I'm traveling and if I'm on vacation and stuff like that, I will go into a tattoo shop and definitely check it out. It's not like I'm doing that whole like the hidden boss or whatever the hell it is, but like I go in and check it out. But most of the time I'm trying to stay away from the environment. It's kind of like what you're saying with the drawings and the paintings in your house, Jason. I'm the same way. It's like I'm getting out to explore and get reinvigorated by other sources of inspiration. You know what I mean? Including relaxation and calming my mind down and turning it off from having to create, But one of the things that I have noticed in a lot of shops, and it's unfortunate, is that there is a lot of attitude. When somebody's walking into the shop and things like that, if nobody's talking to you or they're acting like you shouldn't even be there, dude, it's like, what are you doing, man? Like, for real? It's pretty incredible. And it still shocks me sometimes. So I'm like, dude, come on. It's not like you're going to know me just by seeing me. I mean, maybe now because of the YouTube stuff and everything like that, but you just treat everybody cool. No tattitude.
No. And there's no need to have that kind of an ego or arrogance behind you. Like, no matter who you are or what skill level you're at, there's someone out there better,
Oh yeah, big time.
Humble yourself. Understand that if it's not for your clients, if it's not for the people that put their faith in you and your ability, Lord knows what you would be doing,
Yeah.
So acknowledge that and appreciate that. And I think that to me is where a lot of tattitude comes from, is just that lack of appreciation for the people that we service. That may sound completely wrong, but
No. I think I get the gist of what you're saying.
yeah. So just have that kind of appreciation and remember that.
Yeah, for sure, man.
I'm not saying, if they have a bad idea or if you have a better way of doing things or, they're coming at things with the wrong perspective or the wrong idea. Okay, fine. Yeah, obviously enlighten them to what's going on, but, otherwise appreciate the fact that they want to come to you to get tattooed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You don't have to, people don't have to have tattoos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't have to have art. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't take art to survive. It takes art to thrive and help a culture grow. You know what I mean? But it is not mandatory for your survival, and I think it's something that we all forget sometimes, and some people do. And it kind of goes along with the intention thing that I was talking about earlier, and like what I'm saying now is that, like, even with our peers and taking constructive criticism and things like that, like, it's good to, like with the client, it's good to stay open to the conversation. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's right. It doesn't necessarily mean that that it's going to fall into the category or the way that the client wants it to look, or the drawing that they're going to get. You know what I mean? But it's good to stay open to the interpretation, and at the very least, repeat back what they're saying to you. You know what I mean? And then explain why it's not going to work, and have the knowledge and the capability to be able to, like, sit down and calmly have a conversation about it. But it also goes with your peers and your mentors too. Being open to the conversation, being open to an interpretation that your mentor or your peer might see that you might need, even though you might not agree with it right away. It's good to kind of, like, be open to that moment of growth. And it's helped me quite a bit this last couple of years being on Reinventing, for sure. I think it's important for us to do that.
How did you guys get involved with Reinventing? Like, what was your intro?
So I kidnapped Ricardo one day. I saw him standing on the side of a road, and I had a burlap sack in my back seat. And I just kind of real quick jumped out, knocked him over the head, threw him in the sack, and then took off. And kind of sat him down, with, like, the spotlight shining in his face. And I looked at him and I said, "We're going to be friends."
Yep.
And he was like, "Okay."
Like, you didn't
I
even
would
need
never
the
question that origin story.
No,
I believe it 100%.
Good, because it's absolutely true. Absolutely true. No, I think it was right after quarantine. I think I had got an email about the Reinventing, going from the book to the app. And at the time, it was the platform looked a lot differently at the time, with the mobile app. And
I remember.
yeah, and so I saw that you could do Zooms and stuff like that, and I'd been hearing a lot of people talking about them because of the quarantine and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna jump in one day. And I jumped in on Jason's Sunday drawing lessons and skill building, and it was amore.
Yeah. We were talking about the golden ratio and the golden spiral and how that has an influence on classical art and architecture. And the influence of that in great master works. And that's how we and then Ricardo jumped in. And when he jumped in, he brought up, the geometric flower of life and how that's a compositional aid and how that works. And you can see that reflected in so many different things. And we just kind of hit it off from there.
Yep. Bruno was in there too.
Yeah. Bruno was there. Kier was there.
Yep. I don't think Kier was on that one. She came a little bit later. She started hopping in when Guy. Yeah, I think she started hopping in when Guy was on in one of the courses or something like that.
Off-topic question.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of black ink in my brush when I started painting, so I got a smudge of black right here. Do you guys know how I can fix that?
Paint over it.
Wait for it to dry and just layer over it. Try to put opaques.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so what are you using? Is that liquid watercolor? Is it liquid acrylic? What's your medium?
High flow liquid acrylic. Yeah.
Yeah, it may take a 1 or 2 layers to go over top of that, but that should work.
Sweet. Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. Back to reinventing origin stories. Sorry.
But
You're
yeah,
good.
so then I got the call from Guy to like, that I finally was like accepted as like a client to like come out and get tattooed by him. So first thing I did was called Ricardo and was like totally fanboying out. I was like, dude, guess what? Guy said he could tattoo me.
Yeah, it blew me away.
I was like, you want to go? And he was like, yes. So I drove out to Illinois and we drove down to Guy's place.
And it was awesome. That was such a crazy experience, man. What a wild time. And then this guy
awesome.
then this dude gets tattooed for 2 days in a row. And I'm like, how are you doing this?
It's all in your mind, dude. It really is.
I submitted my consultation request form thing for Guy while at Jiminy Peak. And if he reaches out to me and if all that works out, I want to make an endeavor out of it because I'll be coming in from the West Coast. So while I'm on the East Coast, well, if I get the chance to get tattooed by him, I definitely want to make some plans to hang out with you guys too.
Yeah, for sure, man. Come
That would
on
be
through.
awesome.
Well,
I also
Ricardo's
asked
only a
for
couple
him to
hours
tattoo.
away.
Yeah, I also asked for him to tattoo my throat, so I'll probably need some support if it works out.
Well, I mean, if we can work it out, like if things work out with that for you, and I can get a hold of him and I can reach out to him, maybe we can do like, it's a long shot, but you never know. Maybe I can go out and get my next session done, and then you can do your throat. Ricardo's arm's already finished. But maybe we can do something like that where I get a session done and you get your throat done.
And then we have a tattoo recovery slumber party.
Yeah, he does like to work in multiple sessions though, so just be forewarned, it's probably going to take more than one trip.
Oh yeah, I'm very aware of that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, might as well, like, I don't know what I'm trying to do, because I'm starting to get interested in traveling to collect more serious work. Like I'm talking to Ty McOwen about getting some work done too, trying to figure out when to do that. He works at the same shop that I guest spotted at this last summer. So what I want to try to do is combine a guest spot with my tattoo trip so that I can at least make some money while I'm out spending money. And I kind of like that idea to do that with more traveling and tattooing and stuff. So if I were to go out there to get tattooed by a guy, I'd probably want to throw in like an extra weekend of tattoo out there as well somewhere.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
Try to get as much out of a trip across the states as possible. If I'm traveling, I might as well, make the most out of it.
Absolutely.
Yep, a buddy of mine does that same thing. He travels all over the place. I don't think he's worked at a single shop for years, and all he does is travel around and tattoo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, if you're traveling to get a tattoo, you might as well travel to tattoo if you can make it happen. Try to, spend some money and make some money.
Yeah, one of the coolest things about getting back out there after quarantine and stuff like that was seeing how, I know this sounds so silly, but like seeing how people set up. You know what I mean? Just the setup process that people have. You know what I mean? Like it kind of opened my eyes to a lot of different ways of doing things a little bit more I don't know, not methodically, but like conventional, or not conventional. What's the word that I'm looking for, guys? Like easier.
Efficient?
And then more efficient. There you go. That's efficiency. Yeah. Like my brain, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. But especially with Jason has a pretty good way of setting up. I know when we worked on a back piece together, it was fun to work in his
He
station.
seems like an extremely efficient person.
Oh, for sure.
I envy that in him.
I have to be. I don't have a choice.
I remember
I
what
have
you
too many
said.
things going on in my life. So
Mm,
I have to work at maximum efficiency at all times.
Maximum efficiency.
I can't wait to tattoo side by side with you, Jason. I'm so excited to see you like
It's going to be.
in process, in the mode, like to watch how you work.
Yeah, I've got a very unique way of working at shows. I'm kind of difficult to be around sometimes.
Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah,
you're also
Like
this.
remarkably self-aware.
I am. I very much am self-aware. I know these things about myself from doing a lot of just like self-reflection, especially after an event. Sometimes I'll take a day or two and I'll just like step back and I'll evaluate like what went well this weekend, what didn't go well this weekend, what was I happy with, what was I not happy with, you know, what was some of the feedback that I got from some of the people that I've been around, you know, what could I do better, what could I improve upon, you know, what can I do to streamline the process for next year, what worked well and what didn't work well, you know. So I always go through and always do like a little self-critique after a major weekend or a major event, and you know, just try to hem it down and streamline it down, and you know, just see what works and what doesn't, and then pass that knowledge on to other people. So
Well, either way, man, it was awesome. I didn't think that you're difficult to be around at all.
really, because I kept hitting on you the whole time.
Oh my goodness. No, you're awesome. And like Jason travels with everything too. Like he's always got it all in his like
I
suitcase. It's
overpack.
crazy. It's wild.
I
man.
always try to bring a couple extras of everything.
It's better to have too much than not enough.
Well, I always end up sharing with everyone that I'm around. I'm like, oh man, you still use that cartridge company? Here, try some of these out. These are great. And I'll break off like a couple of 15 mags and, you know, hand them a couple of 15 mags or like some 9-liners or whatever.
They hand out
but
liquid
like
IV like that.
it comes out sometimes to the point that like there was a situation with one artist during the last Puerto Rico show whose all of his stuff got stuck in customs.
Oh man.
The
I
dude
remember you
literally
talking
had
about
nothing
that.
but his machines. He was borrowing everything off of everyone all weekend long because he literally had nothing.
That sucks. It sucks
Yeah.
to be in that situation.
Yeah, but me being me and the over-prepared overpacker that I am, I was like, dude, and I kicked my box over. I'm like, help yourself. Take whatever you want. Whatever you need, it's yours. Just grab it. Right. And we became like super cool friends. And now we're talking about working some shows together. And he's not from the US. He's actually from Scotland. So, and I mean, this dude is a giant among human beings. Like physically very imposing, but when you talk to him, he's the nicest dude you will ever meet.
Pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. But that's part of the reason why I always overpack, because I know someone somewhere is going to run out of something. And if I can make a new friend by being like, oh, I've got extra, here, help yourself. Even when it comes down to like running stencils, right? There was a situation at a different convention a couple of years ago where the convention promoter and company that was running the show didn't have a stencil machine. They didn't have a stencil area set up for artists. So, you know, me being me, I had my little pocket jet stencil printer with me. And I ended up running off stencils for like, you know, 8 or 9 different people that had to tattoo that weekend. So it really worked out well. Made a couple of new friends that way, helped a few people out. But that's, to me, that's all part of being a tattooer, you know, is being there and helping out other artists if things go wrong.
Like the community base.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Hell yeah.
The more we support each other, the more great art gets out there.
What's the entire premise behind Guy Addison's Reinventing the Tattoo, right? Like
Yep.
sharing with the community what you've learned and being inspired by what they bring back after they've absorbed what it is that you're sharing. It's pretty incredible.
Hell
I
yeah.
think I just said that right.
Yes.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
You
Okay,
said
cool.
it out loud. We heard you.
Totally understand.
You didn't just think it.
Yeah, dude. Sometimes I'm like, wait, what?
On that note, though, guys, I have to run. Thank you very much, everyone, for allowing me to be a part of this. I really appreciate it. Take care, and hope everyone has a great day. And maybe I'll see you guys on Sunday.
Okay, Jason. Thanks for joining, man.
See you, Jason.
Anytime, guys. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
I think I might follow suit, guys. I have a client coming in here pretty soon that I've got to get back to the shop for. I'm at my house right now, but I'll just share this real quick. You guys can take a look. This is the furthest that we got today. It's fun. It's fun learning about these muted tones and stuff like that, the way they stand out against brighter, lighter, more muted tones and things like that with the contrast of the silhouette and everything like that. I'm going to go through.
Holy shit. I wasn't even looking at that. You got so far.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Mm,
Holy fuck. That's a beautiful. Shut the front door.
It's fun.
Get out of here.
I almost don't want to share mine now.
Well, let's
Yeah.
share it. We got to share it. Let me stop screen sharing here real quick and see if we can check out what you guys have. Hold on one second. Wait, where did I go? There we go. Okay, stop screen share. There we go. All right. So let's see what you guys have. Let's pull you up.
All right, who's going first?
You,
Go ahead.
Amber.
Yep.
Okay. It's a tattoo concept I'm working on. I'm currently painting. I got to lift up my whole easel so you can see it.
I like it.
Make
Thank
some
you.
more noise so that your screen is back up.
Here we go.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm currently
Nice.
keeping the colors in now.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Where is it's a tattoo concept. Where are you thinking about putting the tattoo?
It's just a smaller version of what I want to tattoo. It would
You are, Amber.
probably-
You're on right now. Show us again.
It would probably be more like a back piece because I would render it larger.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's killer.
Thank you.
I like the concept of it. You have like all the elements and things like that. Is that what's going on with it?
Yeah, it's all 5 elements. The center is spirit, and then it's earth, air, fire, and water in the directions they belong in. The
Very
north,
cool.
south, east, and west.
Very cool. Do you plan on putting any background with it, or is it going to be just the main subject matter?
That's what I still don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
I figure if I render the rest of it, I'll figure it out.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, definitely want to render it out before you get it ready for the stencil and everything like that, though. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, the detail in it looks pretty cool. You know what I mean? I like the colors and stuff that you have going on. The eyeball's pretty neat. I like the way you have the triangle in the center of it.
Thank you.
Yep. It's pretty neat. It's pretty cool looking.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Medusa, what do you got going on? Let's see if we can get you spotlit. There you go.
Spotlighter. I just did an attempt at a chrome Scorpy boy.
Yeah.
He's
I
nice.
had black on my paintbrush when I did some of this red background. So I'm waiting for that to dry to do another coat over that. And I definitely went out of the line. So I'm going to be taking my graphic 1 sized micron and giving it a thicker outline
Mhm.
to put in that the paint, border it more, and then I'm gonna go over and give it some white shine and highlights with a white paint pen. It's part of a flash sheet, but I haven't made a flash sheet in a very long time, so I
Look at that
bunch of-
fish with the butterfly wings. That's awesome.
I love
Yeah.
the butterfly fish.
Yeah.
Everybody really likes that one. I love this one.
That's
Oh,
pretty
that is
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the cowboy scuba man. I'm hoping to add a chrome element to everything because like I said on let's talk about feelings yesterday with Dusty Pitstick because Robbie was celebrating his 4th birthday.
I'm sorry I missed it. I was tattooing.
It's good. You're tattooing. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But like I said then, well, I forgot what I said then. I just got distracted. So never mind.
The crumb. You were
crumb.
talking about the crumb.
Oh yeah, I want to fucking chrome everything. I'm
Yeah.
on a chrome thing. I'm on a chrome thing right now. And before we go, I'd like to show you the other chrome things I started that I didn't finish.
Let's check it
because-
out.
There's my chrome goldfish. Wait, I'm trying to find the camera
Yeah.
that I didn't
Wow.
finish. And this chrome samurai
Holy shit.
Yeah.
that I
That is
didn't
Yeah.
finish.
Bling.
And these are color pencil stuff. And here's the skull face in color pencil that I didn't finish.
Nice, dude.
wow.
I love my book full of unfinished. Nothing is finished. My
Yeah.
picture of Wang Odd that I didn't finish.
That's awesome.
That's a
Yeah.
great portrait.
Yeah.
So there's a tour of my works in progress that will remain so for probably the next 5 years because that's about how long it takes me to circle back around and finish something.
Mm,
I'm the same way, man. I just like kind of lose interest after a while. I'm like, okay, I'm done.
It's like that was super fun, but I have another idea and I need
yeah,
to
I
start
have
it
to wait for
yesterday.
inspiration to move me on this one again.
Yeah, you have to wait for the wind to catch you right? Blow
Yeah.
in the right
Mhm.
direction. Mm-hmm.
The planets rose the right way that day for you to work on this one.
Yeah, totally. There's
Hell yeah.
I do dig that scorpion Medusa. I think if you put the thicker outline on it, it'll help it out a lot anyway. You know
Definitely.
I think it'll make it
Yeah.
pop against that
Yeah.
red.
What I mean? Yeah.
I'll text you a picture. I'll text you guys a picture when I finish it. I should actually be done with the white highlights and the outline within the next hour or so. And yeah, so
Rock and roll. Well, Medusa, since we're talking to you right now, why don't you give us a shout out? Tell us how to get a hold of you.
hi, I am Medusa, and you can find me at Medusa Slays with 3 S's at the end. At the end, not in the middle, not in the beginning, at the end. Medusa Slays. Or medusaslays.com. And at that point, it's just medusaslays.com.
Sweet.
I'm in
Thanks for
Portland,
joining us.
Oregon.
There you go. There you go. Cool. Well, thanks for joining us today, Medusa. I appreciate the conversation. It's always good to see your work and stuff like that. So keep it coming.
Hell yeah. Thanks for having me, dude.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, really.
Amber, you want to give us a shout out?
Sure. I'm Amber Morgaine out of Mays Landing, New Jersey. And as always, thank you for hosting Tuesday Feels. I love having a place to be able to talk about art and feelings all at the same time because they're so connected.
Absolutely.
And
welcome.
you can find me on all platforms under Amber Morgaine.
Perfect. That's easy enough, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
streamlined it.
Yeah. There you go. It's the best way to do it, especially in today's busy, crazy world, right?
Yes.
Well, guys, thank you again for joining on Tuesday mornings. And I know it's different time zones for all of us. I know Medusa's way out there on the West Coast where it's early still. So thank you so much. And to all the future listeners and stuff like that, playing back on YouTube or whatever streaming you're using it on, watching it on, whatever platform you're using. Hope you guys all have a good day and peace. We'll see you next week.
Take
Bye.
care.